Hello, Happy New Year, everybody. Good to be back with you. I've been a bit intermittent over the last few days. We've been taking a little time off, and that's been great. But I hope that 2021 has begun with promise for you. And here we are on Sunday. I'm getting ready for returning to work tomorrow, and beginning to go through my inbox and my in tray and various other in things, and looking forward actually to getting underway again. Had a lovely trip yesterday. I thought I might just show you, despite being now in tier 3 in Wiltshire, the shops thankfully are open, most of them at least, especially my favourite Oxfam bookshop in Marlborough, which is great for second-hand books. I took in a bag yesterday doing a bit of post-Christmas clearing, and my wife Rebecca is always pleased to see when some books leave the house, because so many are arriving usually that there's a bit of a balance to it if we can send off some up to Oxfam. But unbeknown to Rebecca thus far, while I was there, I didn't get quite as many back as I'd given, but I found 4 books on their vintage bookshelf. I'm very pleased about. So very briefly, I thought I might show you. Geoffrey Grigson's Wiltshire. Geoffrey Grigson wrote The Englishman's Flora, which some of you know, a wonderful companion to British Wildflowers. And he lived in, was it the Chalk Valley, I think? And wonderful writer, little book about Wiltshire that I hadn't known existed. H.G. Wells's Short History of the World, a classic, and I've already dipped into it and got some ideas and quotes just in a couple of minutes of looking into it. Nice old copy of that. This, look at that. The English Nation by George Cunningham. Never heard of him before, but a kind of one of those books from the late Victorian era, it seems to me, which are often called a pageant of British history. Just the sort of thing I'm interested in, partly to see what the story told was, knowing that we tell the story differently now, and how the story of the nation was told then, and their readiness, of course, actually to tell the story of the nation in a way that we're probably quite reticent to do now. That's rather a grand book. And finally this, Dorset, The Shell Guide to Dorset by Michael Pitt Rivers. This is the companion volume, for me at least, to the Wiltshire one. I'm just looking for it. There's a lovely, oh yes, here it is. David Veary's, sorry about that, David Veary's book on Wiltshire I picked up just before Christmas. And Pitt Rivers' Dorset. They make a lovely pairing for my manner, at least. And the interesting thing about those guides, you don't get them so much now, those county guides, is that they were very often written by really well-informed people. Those I've mentioned, Grigson, Pitt Rivers and so on, really knew and loved the place they were writing about. And in every old bookshop there is an extensive selection of they're often called local interest, and I go there straight away in a bookshop. That's usually my first port of call, and I've got dozens and dozens of those sorts of books. Arthur Mee. It seems to me that there was around the middle decades of the 20th century, the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, there was a proliferation of writing around topography, place, identity, in a way that I don't quite see. We've got a burgeoning nature writing season at the moment, with some wonderful, wonderful books about nature more broadly and about particular places. But these sorts of guides to British places and counties was a particular theme. I'm really interested in them. They're not only useful and illuminating, but they have a particular kind of local pride, I guess. Pride may be the wrong word, but they extol the place again in a way that that we're not so ready to do now. I don't want to be negative about that, but I'm interested in why we don't. I've got a fairly good idea why we don't. We're at a fairly hesitant point in our national life where we're not sure who we are or how to present ourselves. Maybe that's it. And so and obviously these things go in fashions. But I've got shelves of those sorts of books, and in my own very small way, trying through my writing and speaking and so on to express something of that love for place in a way which isn't blind to its failings by any means, but which brings the beauty of the place out, and moreover looks for meaning there. There is no dislocated meaning. There's no abstract meaning. Meaning is always found in local places. If there's any philosophy behind going to ground, it's that, as you might know by now. It's that meaning, the truth of spirituality, about human life, about God. I believe it's only found in place, and so the more deeply we know place, the more deeply we are aware of the truth of things. So I mine these kinds of books for finding meaning at a deep level, and there we are. That's how I think, and I'm looking forward this year to doing that a little bit more. I was actually going to read today my new written piece, but we're out of time already, so I'll leave it at that for now, and maybe read that in the next couple of days. But I do trust that the week goes well for you, and God bless you as you go to ground.